And it's another beautiful day. Nice looking weather. Looks like the skies are starting to clear up a bit. Hello everybody. All few of you, few of you. I just got through making a video and I didn't feel that I covered my original intent that I started the video out for. It's for a guy that made a comment about that he thought that I'd kind of bought into the passive thought process of Christianity on one of my videos, and the guy wasn't ugly at all. He was very nice, well spoken. He was very thoughtful to make the post. So I'm not at odds with the guy's thought process. But anyway, I get this sense that in his studies, he came to question the Bible as we know it, because it's the Roman Catholic version of the Bible. And he feels that the Bible was changed and altered in order for the leaders of the church and the secret leaders of the world could better control us. And that being said, I have to say it's very true. I think people did tamper with the scriptures and with the Word of God. That being said, cool kitty. With that being said, if God inspired the original writings and texts, the old scrolls and things, and if He was in those people's hearts and minds and hands as they were writing those scriptures, what makes you think that when the evil overlord church that wanted to kill Christianity, remember Paul was set out to kill Christianity in the beginning. He didn't. Paul was there to destroy this movement of Christ. No bad reflection on Paul. He was playing the part that was given at the time. Paul's a wonderful spirit. I used to question Paul a lot, and now I understand after the fire that Paul's role and part he played in the story of Christianity was a viable one. But these people that wanted to do bad intention to the brotherhood of Christianity, if they were in charge of comprising the scriptures, what makes you think that the Spirit of God wasn't also in them, even in a deceitful frame of mind? I have to believe that if God had the ability to inspire the Word of God through the hands of the guys and the people that took part in writing the old original scrolls, He could also do the same thing for people that were trying to negate things in Christianity by rewriting or changing or twisting or turning a phrase or forgetting to leave a part out or emphasizing too much on a small part that was meant to be small and making it big. This is how our human brain works when we're trying to prove our own proofs. We emphasize small things, or we negate important things of a story, to all to taint it toward what we want to teach and preach and get forth to other people, whether we're preaching in a church, whether we're preaching to one guy sitting on a swing somewhere in the country. This is what we do. This is why we're kind of the tree of good and evil is kind of like in all of us in that sense. The tree is a wellspring of knowledge, and good and evil is what man is right now, because he's flesh and he's spirit. The spirit of a man looks to God, and the flesh of a man looks to self. You can say, I'm doing that right now. It's a very dangerous thing to be in a preaching or teaching state of mind, because what are you going to be guilty for someday by teaching something that was not in line with how God meant it or what God wanted it? And there's no way out of that. This is why God shut my mouth for a couple of years. I just started making YouTubes again about spiritual content, because I come to the knowledge that we very much represent that tree of good knowledge on an inner self level. There's no way to get away from both flesh and spirit. As long as you're on this earth, they're kind of interlocked, and you're always at turmoil with it. So, anyway, the guy that posed the question, he's basically letting me know that in the times that are coming, when food is short supply and people get hungry for food, the purpose of that video was, I don't want to become something unchristlike and hoard my food and have starving people knock on my door and me turn them away with a gun, because I can't see Christ doing that. And I think he was kind of addressing that point that we should defend ourselves to the death. And the point I'm making, well, all you really would be saving is your worthless hide. You're going to die anyway, most likely through this process, because billions, I would imagine, will die, will starve. These powers that be, that are at God's instruction, are shutting off the food supply and changing the governments. The food's bound to run short. If it doesn't, I'll be very surprised. Fleshly, pleasantly surprised, by the way. Spiritually, I don't know how I'll feel then. The flesh always tangles up with those thoughts. But, one part of me, the spirit part of me, says, oh yes, this garden is ripe. This crop is overripe and turning to putrid. You ever seen grapes or something on a vine that's been there too long? They bust with juice on the ground and smells like wine making from it fermenting. That's kind of how this garden is now. I definitely can see where this garden is ready for the harvest. So, with all that being said, the main thought I wanted to make to that, if you can see the good things in the book, how Christ and the act of forgiveness, how good that makes you feel, and if God was able to get that into words that lead us to those feelings and those emotions, I think we're going to have to trust God that when the evil overlords of this dark world got power of the Bible and changed the words to lead us to what they wanted, there's also the thread and the vein and that grafted vine in that word still that will lead us away from what they wanted and right back to what Christ wanted and what God wants for us. You just have to get through it. In the last vid, I recommend that everybody should study with Shepherd's Chapel with Pastor Arnold Murray and Dennis Murray and David Murray. I think it's the most beneficial way of studying the Bible, because you actually, over a period of a year or two, you will study the entire Bible. You will read through the scriptures, and the old man gives us great insight to what many things mean, but just like any other good and bad tree, some things are going to be misleading and some things are not. But through it all, the Spirit of Christ will edify it, and we will get there. And it's an excellent source of studies. That being said, have a little more faith, man, in what God is able to do. Have a little more faith that when somebody misleads you, even with the Bible, interpretations, translations, have a little faith that God can work in you and get you past it. Have a little more faith that God's not going to give you a stone or a serpent when you're asking Him for bread. The greatest thing God ever did for me is, I think it was in the book of John, it talked about an unction. It said something along the lines that ye don't have any need of being taught by any man because you have the unction. The unction, this is that small, still inner voice that helps you work things out. This is that Spirit of God that is always in you. God's in you before He's around you. He's in you. And if you're looking with a good, honest heart to get to the bottom of things and figure things out, then God's not going to throw you a stone to break your teeth on. He's not going to throw you a serpent to poison you. He'll protect you from the poison that you find in so many teachings and preachings today. But if you look with a true heart, if you look with love, and if you're looking for love with love, guess what you're going to find? You're going to find love. So it's hard on young people today because there's so much knowledge out there. There's so much with the internet. I mean, there's so many ways you can go. But before you go any of those ways, I strongly suggest that you go the way of getting through the whole book. You read it with somebody like Pastor Arnold Murray who can give you a good ground. I got grandkids waking up. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
There's my little pod. But think about that, what I said, and if anything I said blessed you, then,
What are you doing?
then bless me. I'm
Whoa.
talking to some friends. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Tell them hello.
Hey.
Hey. So think about what I said and have a good day. Every day's a good day. And even if it's raining or it's storming, it's a good day. Even if the news has got you down, there's a lot of good news out there you can focus on. There's a lot of good news in the world today if you look for it. And with that being said, we are going to enjoy this beautiful day. Isn't that nice? Okay, everybody. See you next time.